Hello, Jimmy.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, good to see you again. How long has it been?
This time a week.
Ah, awesome. So we are back.
We are.
And the reason that we're back is so that we could talk about sports cards.
Yes, we do carry sports cards.
Really?
It's a comic shop, and a lot of people come in and go, whoa, you have sports cards.
I mean, when you walk in, it's the first thing you see. Literally
True.
Just sports cards, another section of sports cards, another section of sports cards. You have to navigate to find the comics.
And that is why people come into the store and say, do you carry comic books?
Yep. I've gotten that question just this past week.
Exactly. And
Thankfully, we do. So
Yep.
they did walk away happy. But if people came in looking for sports cards, they'd also be walking away happy.
True.
Especially given what time of year it is.
What time of year is?
It's the transitional time of the year.
That's true. There's been a lot of transitions, right? It's when football season just started. It's when basketball season just started slightly later. You're talking about a couple weeks. And then you also have hockey season starting. It's pretty much 3 major sports that is starting. We're not talking about World Cup that's happening later on in November or mid-November. And for baseball, we're in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, that is the climax of the season for baseball, right?
Yep. So as a result, there's a lot of shifting in demand and prices of either boxes or singles.
So, Jimmy, would you break this down into, let's say, more discrete categories when we're looking at seasonality?
Yeah. I think the way I look at it in terms of from a sports standpoint is that you will have what's considered preseason, right? You know, off season when everybody else is paying attention to other products or other sports or other things that they like to do. Then you have in season, where folks would then be buying box more briskly, and there are more releases during season. And then you have what's called leading into the playoffs. Those are the what I would consider the 3 distinct demand period.
Now, let's say I am someone who's really into sports cards,
Yep.
right? Let's say I'm someone who, let's use basketball as an example,
Okay.
because we're at the time when basketball is kicking off.
Yep.
They don't kick the ball in basketball, but, you know, let's say I am interested in basketball, and I am someone who is going to be looking at the new basketball products that are coming out, looking at the new season.
Yep.
How does the fact that there is a new season affect my buying habits, or affect really what I'm looking for from that type of a product?
No, that's a valid question, especially for people who either just came in or that's been into the hobby for the last year, right? You have what I break it down to is the off season. You know, off season speculation. People look at free agency. People look at how did certain rookies perform. People look at trades, right? When the new season is about to start, that's when now folks are beginning to look at, okay, how are the teams going to do? It's sort of like, this is what I'm speculating on, and this we began to see how the team formulates, especially during preseason, how they play and all that and so forth. And most importantly, people are beginning to see it on their television, right? Because off-season, the news is, oh, so-and-so did this, so-and-so, there was a trade, there was a new signing. But now it's when, okay, we're going to start playing. It's in the news. NBA season's about to start. So now, before there may be a few folks who are into basketball that are concentrating on some items, but now the greater focus is on the whole sports because there's a lot more eyeballs on it. A lot more people are into it. So for something like basketball, this is where people now go, oh, I want to open a box of hoops. I want to open a box of Donruss. I want to open something because I wanted to see how some of the players are going to be, and I want to see if I could get some of the cards that's been talked about, right? So that's where you see a greater demand and therefore an increase in value of some of the boxes. And it could be new boxes or old boxes.
Gotcha. Now, does that relate often to specific players as well? Like, is it possible for there to be a player who, let's say, has a bad season, who doesn't necessarily do well, or let's say, even going in a different direction, a player who's injured and doesn't play a full season? Say if they're coming back, or if they're going to be in a different situation for the next season, does that change how people look at that player and then how people value certain products?
Absolutely, especially when you're talking about players that, but let me take a step back on that though. When you're talking about players specific, then you're talking about the individual singles.
Right.
So the example that you can look at is Kawhi Leonard. You know, he was out for a whole year. He was coming back. There may be a little bit of speculation purchasing his cards, But people won't start looking at it, his specific cards, until really the season starts and it looks like he's playing decent. Right? But the other way of looking at players is the whole rookie class. So if some people look at, let's say, last year's rookie class and go, oh, player A and player B, let's say in this case is Kay Cunningham in basketball, or Scotty Barnes, or some of the players from last year's rookie class, they go, you know, it looks like they're pretty good, or that you expect last year's rookie class to take a jump, then you would want to buy some of the last year, when we say last year is 21-22 seasons, hobby boxes or just boxes of basketball. So from a box standpoint, it is rookie centric. Now, can one rookie drive it? Sure. When you look at Luka, there was still basketball going on, the Euro Championship. He was doing phenomenal. So they impacted his singles, but then once the season is about to start, when more people hear about what's happening or what he has done, then there's a greater interest in his cards as well as the boxes.
It sounds like as one season develops, it's possible for that season's makeup and what's going on to actually impact the value of boxes from previous seasons and things that feature particular players from previous rookie classes.
Yeah, I mean, and we could break it down. I mean, it's a very, you could call it fun time or exciting time, right? Because we have football. Mm-hmm. Football season has started already and it's like midway through. Then basketball kicks off along with hockey, right? So during the summer or later part of the summer, the focus has been on baseball and all that and so forth. Now the movement is towards, oh, what are the new products? What's going on in football? And you see people buying the football boxes before the season start, which is kind of interesting, right? Before the season start, there are all these hype people buying all the different rookies, and they're looking for different products that these rookies come out of. And the price of football boxes were pretty strong. Once the season start, all the prior year products kind of plateaued. And people started moving towards this year's rookie class because they want to see how they perform. Plus, this year's rookie class, the product is being steadily releasing. So you see a lot of dynamic happening, right? Same thing with hockey. Hockey's season just started, so you began to have folks coming in and buying more hockey products because now they're looking at things like, oh, who did well? Let me buy a box of that. Let's try to get the young guns. Let me see if there are these other products that was here last year. I liked it, but I was busy paying attention to football or I was busy paying attention to baseball. Now I want to start paying attention to basketball or hockey.
So at this point in the season, we have, or I should say at this point in our release schedule, you have a new season for a lot of sports and you have products that feature new rookie class, that feature the current season's product. You also have things that are releasing simultaneously that are from the previous season, because there's a little bit of overlap. You might have two products coming out relatively close to each other that have different years on them. When you have those things releasing side by side, does that impact the direction in which people go? Like, is it, unless you're looking for a specific player from a specific class, at this stage, is it too late for those late releasing products? Or is that something that you're going to look toward and say, oh, well, there's something new here, and there's something for me?
It's a very good question, and I say it in a sense that the release schedule has actually changed and evolved for some of the sports. What do I mean by that? It used to be that before a season's about to start, there's at least some level of basic releases that relates to the current year's rookie class for some sports. In this case, Panini. In this case, for football, basketball, right? But that's changed because of pandemic and all that and so forth. The products now, if you're talking about basketball, there aren't any college or any of this year's new rookie crop. So it hasn't come out yet. And typically when you're talking about the main set, it comes out probably later in November. So how does that impact schedule? You'll see that most when we're in the season and then there is a brand new release of this year's rookie crop. But I think this year's rookie class, and we're talking about basketball for now, people don't really pay as close attention to it until it gets closer to January or February. There'll be people who will buy it and they'll buy boxes They'll enjoy it, they'll want to open it, they want to get in on it beforehand and all that and so forth, and there are some collectors for that. But people don't usually look at it unless the rookies do a just came out of the gate doing incredible. Then that would increase the demand. So what I would say is this, in terms of the demand, in terms of what people buy, in the beginning, they'll still rather buy the new rookie class and all that and so forth. But if you think about it, prior year's rookie that's just coming out, a lot of times it allows people to go, well, I already know how this rookie's did. And I already know what I think this rookie is going to do this coming season or that's going on because of the team, the players that's surrounding him. Therefore, I don't mind spending money or I don't mind buying the boxes.
So what you're saying is when you're buying things from the previous season, you're really buying into a known quantity.
To some people, yeah, because you already know what is the established value that you see for some of these similar cards, so you already know what is happening, and you already know from a performance standpoint how they're going to be. So that's how people look at it in terms of buying. So that's pretty much how seasonality works in that standpoint. I was talking to somebody earlier that if you want to try to equate with the TCG, you try to look at it from a standpoint of, oh, if there is a new product that's coming out, then the older product is not in as much of a demand. But then if there's ever a situation where if the new product comes out, there's some cards in there, becomes incredibly popular, then maybe some of the older products would be in demand.
Yeah, and I mean, we could do an entire video on the seasonality of trading card games, but I think a lot of it comes down to anything that ties into something going on in the world that is on a clock, that's on a calendar, and anything that even releases on a calendar, as the releases do. Those things are always going to intertwine, and those things are always going to lead to patterns that repeat themselves, and that if you follow those and if you know what's going on and what to pay attention to, it can help you make informed choices.
Absolutely. And another way you could also look at it is, it's what's in the news, right? And that will help us, help you in terms of determine which way to go a lot of times.
Yeah. So which way do we go from here?
We're looking forward to all the exciting releases that's coming out.
Yeah. And there is a lot of it.
Yeah, a few.
No, that's...
Like we talk about seasonality. New season. Old season that's wrapping up, right? So you have a bunch of products that's coming out with the new season. On top of that, we're not even talking about TCG yet.
That concludes today's look at seasonality
in sports.